Batik is a technique that I would love to master. At Fuji Studio in Florence, where I learned silk screen print back in 1989, they also had courses in batik and silk painting. I saw how they sat painting with the waxes before coloring their silk fabrics. The colors and the designs were just amazing. Batik is a reservation technique that's made by waxing the fabric. The wax is either applied by hand with a tool called chanting or printed with copper stamps called cap. The most skilled batik artisans are found at Java in Indonesia. The taching is a wood or bamboo stick with a small metal spouted copper cup. This technique is the most refined and expensive one. It's called batik tulu and translated to written batik. The wax used is a mix of paraffin, beeswax and resin. It's melted and kept over a flame or hot charcoal to remain liquid. The taching is dipped into the wax and the wax is painted onto the fabric by hand. Both sides of the fabrics are waxed. For detailed designs, a thin spout is used, and for filling larger areas, a larger spout or a stiff brush is used. The dyes are or synthetic or made by boiled leaves and boiled wood. The fabrics are dyed in cold dye bath as heat would melt the wax. When dyed, the fabric is hung to dry. Often it needs to be dipped in the same dye bath several times and dried between each bath. The fabric is boiled or scraped to remove the wax. Depending on the complexity of the design and the number of colors, new wax is added and the procedure starts again. This might be done several times and it can take up to a year before a design is finished. The final wash is made in several steps, first in boiling water and then cooler and cooler water. The wax is taken care of and is reused. Batik is made on cotton fabrics. In Sweden we use the word batik also for reserving areas by binding, tying and other tie-dye techniques. As there are no clear limit between the different techniques, I will mention them briefly. You can create a lot of variety in the designs by tying the fabrics in different ways, using dye bath, pouring the color, painting or spraying over the fabric. The Japanese tie-dye technique is called shibori. Also within shibori, there are a lot of different techniques to reserve when dyeing. The word comes from the root shiburu and means wring, squeeze and press. In shibori, also the fabric structure is often shaped. The patterns are created by sewing, folding, binding and stitching. There are different techniques in silk painting as in all artistic fields. If you want to use a resist, first you need to choose between a water-based that you can wash away, a gutta which is a rubber-based resist, or a wax that needs to be removed by a solvent. The painting can be made both with pigments and dyes. The pigments are fixed by ironing and the dyes needs to be vapored for 2-3 hours with the textile wrapped in paper. Especially the dyes that enters in the fibers gives lovely brilliant colors. To create effects, there are dilutions and alcohol. For structures, sugars and salts are used. Before starting painting the silk, the fabric is stretched out on a frame, this to make the colors flow and bleed into each other. Often wet in wet techniques are used. Common for all these techniques is that even using the same design, The outcome of each item will be somewhat unique. Dyes are depending a lot on the circumstances as quality of the color stuff, temperature, color bath, air moisture, etc. Paintings are dependent on each stroke and ties of each exact fold of the fabric.